Nostalgia bait of the sky, please hear my cry. Transform thyself to something useful and bring me victory in this duel. Envelop the format with your glow and force a rage quit upon my foe. Unlock yourself from booster pack so that together we may attack. Appear in this children's card game as I call your name. Mega Ultra Chicken! Hello, mortals, and welcome to a new dark age of dueling. The power of the Egyptian gods, as well as my Millennium Rod, have once again been made manifest, and while it will still be some time before the cards reach a broader circulation, it's never too late to familiarize yourself with the abyss of pain you will soon find yourselves in. But how rude of me! I've yet to introduce myself. Some call me Yummy Merrick. Others call me a scourge upon the world that will soon plunge all civilization into an age of evil and darkness. And yet some call me by an even more terrible and heinous title, Melvin. And what of this GoldenNova that normally hosts these digital diatribes? Well, it looked like all of this social distancing was getting him down, so I did what any good friend would do. I went up to him and gave him a nice, big hug. And I also gave a hug to all of his internal organs, especially the kidneys. Take up a lot of room in there, those internal organs. Much more space once you make them external organs. Some would call that an atrocity. I call it spring cleaning. Let's begin by reviewing the many forms of this most illustrious of the gods. I would have assumed you all had a strong understanding, but from what I can tell, none of you have had the good sense to play Mega Ultra Chicken, for whom I shall now refer to with their maiden name for contract purposes, so let's just call this one a refresher. The Winged Dragon of Ra is a level 10 Divine Attribute Divine Beast. They cannot be special summoned, and must be normal summoned with 3 tributes, fitting for its majesty. It's so majestic, in fact, that its normal summon cannot be negated, and other cards and effects cannot be activated in response to it. When it is normal summoned, you can pay life points until you have 100 left, and Ra gains attack and defense equal to the amount that you paid. Or, if you're seeking a more grisly alternative, you can instead pay 1,000 life points, then target a monster on the field and destroy it. Most monsters would have a restriction that keeps them from using that more than once per turn. Ra, as usual, is the exception. Sphere mode is rather similar to Ra's default form. Same stat line, same level, its summoning conditions are even the same, with one very important distinction. You can tribute summon Sphere mode to either player's side of the field, using your opponent's monsters instead if you so choose. It's the gift that keeps on taking. But I can't trust just anyone with the embodiment of the Sun God, so Sphere mode returns to its owner's control during the end phase of the next turn. Pro tip: make sure to recite the ancient Egyptian chant for Ra every time this effect activates. Your opponent will be very impressed with your memorization of Egyptian hieroglyphics and not annoyed with you at all. Sphere mode cannot attack, and it cannot be the target of attacks or effects from your opponent. Also, you can tribute Sphere mode to special summon the Winged Dragon of Ra from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Then set its attack and defense to 4,000. It's one of those have your cake and slice it into little pieces too kinds of things. Ra still gets all of those delicious attack points, and you still get to feed it your life points to destroy monsters. It's a win-die situation. You win, they die. Pretty simple, really. But when you want to go absolutely banana pants, I highly recommend that you crank up that Fall Out Boy album and break out the Immortal Phoenix. They're also a level 10 Divine Attribute Divine Beast, but they don't need any assistance to get to 4,000 attack. They can't be normal summoned, very off-brand, and must be special summoned by its own effect. And what is that? Well, If your Winged Dragon of Ra is sent from the field to the graveyard, while Phoenix is in the graveyard, they can be special summoned, and no cards or effects can be activated in response. Sorry, Called by the Grave. It's unaffected by other cards' effects, and you can also pay 1,000 life points to get rid of a monster on the field. But unlike standard Ra, this effect doesn't target, and it sends instead of destroys. Sorry, Dingirsu! However, during the end phase, Phoenix reverts to its Sphere mode, summoning it from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring summoning conditions. This creates a nice little cycle of terror. Tribute summon Ra or Sphere mode, Ra eventually goes to the graveyard, you summon Phoenix, and then at the end of the turn you get back Sphere mode. It's combos like this that really light a fire in my opponent, because of all the fire beams I'll be shooting at them. But let's be real for a moment. Sometimes wrangling a bunch of blood sacrifices together to get this all going is a bit of a pain. My full power has been restrained by inferior card design, but no longer. Here are some of the new additions to our merry band of abominations. Reactor Slime is a level 4 water aqua monster with 500 attack and defense. During your main phase, you can special summon 2 slime tokens, each level 1 but having the same stats otherwise, but you cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for divine beast monsters. Also, during either player's battle phase, as a quick effect, you can tribute Reactor Slime to set 1 Metal Reflect Slime from your hand, deck, or graveyard to your spell and trap zone. And it can be activated that turn as well. The extra tokens provided by Reactor Slime provide the perfect fodder for Ra, but you'll need another normal summon to take advantage of that. Something that we'll have access to in just a little bit. And if it just so happens to get negated, we have its second effect that can be used later to grab Metal Reflect Slime. But what does that very specific trap have to do with Ra's glory? That would be Egyptian God Slime, a level 10 water aqua fusion monster with 3,000 attack and defense. You can make it with 1 aqua monster and 1 level 10 water monster, but you can bypass all of that by tributing 1 level 10 aqua monster with 0 attack, kind of like Metal Reflect Slime. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent can't target other monsters you control for battle or card effects. This makes Egyptian God Slime an outstanding companion to any other monster setup in the game, but for our purposes, the most important effect is that it can be treated as 3 tributes for any tribute summon, meaning this 1 card is enough to summon any of the Egyptian gods, including Ra. Next is Guardian Slime, a level 10 water aqua monster with 0 attack and defense. If you take any damage, you can special summon them from your hand. If it battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, you can have it gain defense equal to the opponent's attack. Lastly, should it be sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can add any spell or trap that specifically names the Winged Dragon of Ra in its text from your deck to your hand. A much more powerful material for the summon of Egyptian God Slime than Metal Reflect Slime, providing you with some of our powerful new spells and traps. But you'll have to find a way to take some damage to summon them out more quickly, though I'd be more than happy to assist. Or this clown can do it. Next are our spells. Ancient Chant is a normal spell that adds the Winged Dragon of Ra from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and if you do, gives you an additional tribute summon during your turn on top of your standard normal summon. Also, you can banish Ancient Chant from the graveyard, and for the rest of the turn, whenever you tribute summon Ra, its original attack and defense become equal to the combined original attack and defense of the monsters used for its tribute summon. Drawing this with Reactor Slime gives you exactly what you need to summon the Winged Dragon of Ra, generating the tokens for fodder and giving you the extra tribute summon to take advantage of it. However, using the Grave effect, Ra will only have an extra 1,500 attack to work with. If you plan on paying life points for the attack boost, then that should be enough to help with ending the game, but otherwise you'll just look silly with an Egyptian god that only has 1,500 attack. Alternatively, you could tribute Egyptian God Slime for a much higher attack boost. Millenium Revelation is a continuous spell that is a very curious answer to the problem of starting the Immortal Phoenix cycle. Once per turn, Millenium Revelation lets you discard a Divine Beast monster from your hand to the graveyard to add a monster reborn from your deck or graveyard to your hand. As a second effect, you can send Revelation to the grave, and if you do, for the rest of the turn, Monster Reborn can summon the Winged Dragon of Ra from your graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. But then all Winged Dragon of Ra's that were summoned that way must be sent to the grave during the end phase. Because it lets you discard Divine Beasts, this is a way to get Immortal Phoenix into the graveyard. Then, when Ra is sent to the grave during the end phase, Immortal Phoenix takes its place, shortly followed by Sphere Mode. It's a crazy sequence, but that's how I like my ancient magic super gods. Ridiculously complex, horny, and covered in fire. Our last new entry for now is one with the Sun God. This continuous trap cannot activate its effects on the same chain, but if you control a Winged Dragon of Ra, you can activate the trap the turn it's set. During either player's main phase, you can pay life points so that you only have 100 left. Then have one of your special summoned Winged Dragon of Ra's gain attack equal to the life points paid. This can let you double up on your attack boosts. If you summoned Ra with Sphere Mode, it'll already have 4,000 attack, so the extra boost can close out games easily. And while that first effect can't be used during the battle phase for damage step shenanigans, its second effect is more than ready to pick up the slack. Once per turn, you can tribute one Winged Dragon of Ra you control to gain life points equal to the attack it had on the field. On paper, this seems like an easy way to recoup the life points you paid into Ra so that you don't die to a single Trickstar activation, but it's much more than that. If you activate this during the battle phase, you can gain a crapload of life points, then summon out Immortal Phoenix to attack even more. Even if you do this outside of the battle phase, the life points you would gain from a Sphere Mode empowered Ra gives you the fuel for 4 Immortal Phoenix activations. And since it can be activated the turn it's set, you won't have to wait to incinerate your foes in Ra's divine magnificence. Aside from those, we do have a little bonus card that's been around for a while that will help with our majestic might. Mound of the Bound creator keeps all level 10 and higher monsters on the field immune to effect destruction and targeting. Immortal Phoenix is already immune to everything, but the default mode's a bit more fragile. It also burns your opponent for 1,000 whenever a level 10 or higher monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle to help you close out games. And if your opponent ever wants to get rid of Mound of the Bound creator, that's fine. But they'll have to be okay with letting you get a free divine monster from your deck. Now you see the true power of the Winged Dragon of Ra! Now you see how futile it is to defy me. Now bow down, worms. My new era of darkness has—
Hey, tall, dark, and pointy. What do you think you're doing?
What? How the hell are you still alive? I cut you into so many pieces, they had to make a puzzle box for you labeled 1,000-piece meat bag.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it was a real pain getting all the corner pieces together.
The only thing coming together is my grand plan, and you're too late to stop me. Now watch as I reduce this pathetic world to ashes!
Or, and hear me out here, I could just use the fourth wall against you.
Pardon?
Yeah, I mean, Yami Merrick is a character in Yu-Gi-Oh!, but Melvin is a self-aware parody in an abridged series. Also, you're not even my character, so you don't even belong here, and that makes it all the easier to take the meta approach. I'm just gonna edit you out.
What? Wait, you can't do that! Think of the anticlimax you're about to commit!
Don't care. Ah, perfect. Okay, so it looks like all the new Winged Dragon of Ra cards have already been covered, so yeah, not sure where to go from here. If you have any suggestions for ways to make the deck better, feel free to comment down below. And make sure to subscribe for more videos. I mostly promise to keep characters from hijacking my videos in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.